welcome back to Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. So today gonna do a little bit of cleanup with logs. So have a ton of logs back there at the food plot, just from the red oak that we took out of the pond. Plus when we did all that clearing, there's just a ton of logs back there. Most of it's gonna be firewood, some maple, and that red oak that'll be good for the sawmill. But just gonna get it up here up front, kind of like we've been doing, to make it accessible so that we can bring the tractor and everything over here, pull right up here with the dump trailer and get stuff loaded in. So last time we were over here and moving logs, I had kind of a pinwheel of logs going out. Had the small tractor today. We have just a bolt-on fork, so basically just 2 bolts drilled through the bucket that go on, and they're just pieces of channel. So just using those, got everything stacked up so that it's kind of just cleaned up a little bit, and then gives me room to then start getting logs off over here again. So have that cleaned up. Dad did that just a bit ago. I think I got the camera on for that, so if I have that cleaning up, you'll see that. The other thing I got, or that we brought with us today, are these oak boards here, and then just some small ones that we cut down. So the idea is that these will go in the pockets about like that, so they'll fall through, which is okay, but they'll go in there, and then we'll put a board across and be able to screw to that so that we don't have stuff getting into the tires. So put this in, put a board on, and that will stop everything from getting in, so that'll really help. So I'll work on getting that attached. Have one for each side. I think the board we brought is only 8 foot long, or both of them, and I think we're 12 here, so may not have it catching the pocket in the back, but most importantly I'll get this front one and the middle and keep this out of the tires. So it's really the main goal. And essentially it's red oak just because that's what we cut. We have some spots that are pretty nasty in this, kind of some spots there, and then this bottom one's kind of got some funky spots, and then a little bit of live edge here. Not going to be great boards for much else, so we'll get those put on and stop that from getting into the wheels, and we'll be able to stack up a little bit higher too. So as I mentioned, Dad worked here to kind of get all this stuff moved up. So right now we're not too worried about where it's going as far as trying to divide it out between sawmill versus firewood. That'll be another project to where we'll bring the big tractor over with the backhoe and the gravel and be able to just kind of pick through the pile, and hopefully the idea is to get stuff picked up, get it sawed into firewood size pieces and right into the dump trailer, and kind of do it in that fashion instead of kind of making different piles. We'll kind of try to whittle the pile down as we go. So had a little bit of brush down there that just fell out of a tree, so brings that up to the brush pile we have going up kind of by the home site. And then we have a couple of logs up there, so he goes ahead and gets those down. They're right at the edge of the drive, and whenever you take the new truck up there, it's kind of hard to see with the way the hood's designed in front of you like that, coming up over that hill, and didn't want to catch those logs that are right there at the edge. So he goes ahead and gets those moved down as well, and then just finishes moving these. Like I said, it's a pretty good collection of different types of firewood. I kind of talked about that later too, but there's some maple, cherry, red oak, a lot of stuff that will be really good firewood, and stuff that will also be good on the sawmill for anything that's big enough. So he's doing just a little bit of grading. Whenever with these forks, we tried to straighten them out, but they've been well abused, so they're not 100% flat and straight anymore. So whenever you go to get a log, you kind of end up you know, skewering the dirt a little bit. So he was just kind of grading that out. So because he cut some roots whenever he was trying to pick up those logs. The only bad thing about these bolt-ons, these are 3-inch channel. We'll probably go to 4-inch channel whenever we have to remake these. There's a scrapyard not too far from here where you can buy scrap metal at just whatever the cost of metal is, and it's pretty affordable that way. So for $10 to $20 you can get, you know, a long piece of channel. If you know it's something that has been discarded, you can buy that, and then we can cut it and drill the holes and everything back so that it'll kind of match what we already have instead of having to drill more holes in the bucket. With that said, this channel is probably, I don't know, about 15 to 20 years old. So it's only been straightened out a couple times. And this is, you know, probably only maybe the second time you've seen it on the channel, so it's obviously not something we use it a lot, but it's very handy for situations like this, and just a very cheap and easy solution. So now he has that straightened up, I'll head back, and while he was working on that, we had a tree that had fallen and just about taken out one of our posts, the 400. I mentioned it in a previous video where we walked the property. So I go ahead and get it pulled down here to the green hole for him to push in, and it's a piece of ash. It's kind of in between being good or too mushy. It's kind of right at the edge. He went ahead and put it to the side, and we'll probably be able to get some sections out of it, but we'll just have to kind of see how it is once we start cutting into it. But yeah, it fell right there, so I just got it drugged down with the auger while he was getting those logs sorted, and then got the Stihl that you see him passing here. Get those hung while he was getting everything situated up front. But he's making his way to the food plot now, and going to just park the tractor there. It's going to help me get the rest of the sideboards on, and then we will start moving logs from the back here, so you can see them on the right and kind of in front of them, and start getting those moved up front. So to winch on the handle for the jack kind of gets in the way, so just set that back and then pick it up. You need to get a piece of wood to put under that because the jack kind of wants to sink into the dirt. So we actually brought a scrap of red oak with us that we thought we may need to use for the pockets, and I go ahead and put that under whenever I take it off. But the jack works really well for this, able to raise and lower. You can't just pick up the front of that too readily, even though it seems like we should have pretty decent forward weight distribution. Once you put a log on there, it's fairly back heavy. You could almost move the wheels back a little bit, but I'm hesitant to do that, to put too much weight on the otter. So anyway, with that, you can then move the jack around so it's in the down position. You can rotate it 90 degrees so that it is up and out of the way, and then it sits up close enough to the frame of the trailer that it mounts to that you don't have to worry about it contacting the otter during turns or anything. So we didn't end up needing the winch today. We were able to do everything with the tractor by setting up one end and then pushing it on, or just setting stuff on with the forks. But the winch, it's kind of a double thing, so it's nice to have just in case you do need to pull something up. The other side of it is it does add a little bit of front weight. So like I said, even though with the log on there, it's kind of back heavy, the winch is, 80-ish pounds probably. With the bracket and everything, so it adds a little bit of front weight to it, so you don't have that issue of the incorrect balance. Okay, so that should allow us to stack more up and not have anything get to the wheels. So should be pretty good. See how if this flexes at all. Shouldn't be too bad. Worst comes to worst, we end up getting a longer board so that we get that last pocket, but we really don't want too far back because then you kind of get stuck on that edge. So now I'm all hooked up and have those boards on. Can work on heading back to the food plot where all those logs are that we want to get moved today. So end up taking the north trail crossed. It is the flattest and probably the closest route to the food plot. So it's just wide enough for this trailer and everything. It's one thing we need to work on bumping out eventually. Definitely once stuff starts growing back up, it'll kind of want to close in, but right now it's just about right. Alright, so have this pile of logs here, just kind of an assortment of stuff, kind of a variety, a little bit of cherry, maple, so that's all stuff that was in here that we just dropped there. And then over here have the red oak. So those will be, that bottom two will be really good for the sawmill. Top one's got some more knots, but may be able to get something out of it. And then the kind of this mess of stuff here, mostly red oak from the limbs, but there's some stuff under it as well. And then we have these long ones, we'll have to chop those up. So first time using the boards on here, and then using those forks, so we'll see how this goes. With the smaller ones, I can manhandle those. Should have brought a cant hook or something with us to be able to kind of move those around. A cant hook and or that hookaroon would be really nice to be able to grab and manipulate these a little bit, but we'll get these stacked on and see how it does. Some of these are really long, we'll probably have to cut off and then stack another piece on. Anything we don't have to cut off would be better. Part of the reason we want to go ahead and get rid of these is we're going to start cutting some of this stuff down over here to expand, and whenever we do that we're going to have a lot more, so get some of this stuff out of the way so that we have room for more. go ahead and speed up putting the rest of these on. So just have to do a little bit of cutting so I'm not against the winch, and then cut the ends off that are really long so that they're not hanging out the back dragging. We do a pretty decent load this first time, but with the first time having those sideboards, you know, just kind of trying it out. So you notice we're using the headphones with the walkie-talkies again. So we test those out a little bit today. I will do a full kind of in-depth review on a separate video of those. Used them a little bit, didn't do it too extensively. I did use the Bluetooth some, connected to my phone so that I could listen to music while doing that. Just since I was mostly in the otter, kind of going back and forth. I could listen to music through the headphones and then still use the walkie-talkies. They worked okay, just with how hilly it is here, even though we don't have a long distance. Just didn't always work 100%. It kind of got garbled, but you can see all the hills and stuff that we have that we're kind of blocking, and you can see how far away it is from this drive. So we'll continue to test them in different situations, kind of at the 100 acres and other places, and see how they do, and give a more in-depth review once we've used them a little bit more. So get over here to the log. So from that one, we're able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Obviously, those two are pretty small. Those size aren't terrible, so pretty good collection here. Good stuff out. So again, if you watch my other video of doing this, same method. So I've just put a chain around this one and around here, and then I put our big cable around that and then hooked to the chain, and then just took off, and then it would leave these here. So seems to work fairly well. Had one that was kind of long, so I cut it off. And some of these have kind of a curve to them, so that made it a little bit more challenging to get it pulled off, but it seemed to work. So go back and get another load and keep doing that. So he did a little bit of prep and got some logs ready right here. So we have some red oak that was back in the woods that we also ended up kind of getting pulled out, just since it's really good firewood. But it's amazing how much wood there is here, even though it doesn't look like that big a pile. Even when, you know, getting, you know, some of these on the otter, since you can only do about 12 foot, maybe, you know, 13, 14, you know, it kind of, you know, you have to cut some of those off and adds to your pile. So even though we're getting several at a time, you know, it takes a bit. So I just keep doing the same method. You notice I'm not using the road at all, so I'm trying to stay, you know, in the dirt paths that we have, mainly because you can see the tires on the trailer are starting to get full of mud, so the auto tires definitely are. And there's a spot right here that's wet, and then the spot here where the logs are is fairly wet, and just trying to muddy up the gravel. So this is a piece of red oak that fell, oh, probably 2 to 3 years ago, and it was long enough ago that we log end sealed it, knowing that we were going to have the sawmill, but we didn't have it yet. This we just cut fresh, but we sealed the ends knowing that we're going to use it, or hope to use it. You can see the outside's kind of got some meal to it, but the center is still pretty good. So while it may not look great, by the time you know, flat cut and kind of get to the center of the wood, there's a lot of good wood still in this. So we may try to put it on the sawmill. It's pretty straight. That end's a little bit worse, and this is about a 12-foot piece, and that's probably about an 8 or just shy. So they'd still be pretty good logs. We'll probably try to put them on the mill, see what we see. If we're unhappy, they just become firewood. Otherwise, they should be pretty good to where we can get out of the center of that log still. But here's another example of having the side. So up against that, be interesting to see how this pulls off. I'm gonna get hooked to this one, give it a yank and see. I may be so pinched up against that one that it doesn't want to come, and I'll have to have him come with the tractor to help these off. But we'll give this a try and see how it goes. So this is an instance where if you don't put the camera up and hit the record button, you don't see what happens, but this came off fairly well and was able to get back here to get another load. This is the last one we do today, so we get most of the stuff there picked up where the tractor's at, but we still have all that stuff there that I just passed. Just kind of running out of daylight and had some other things we wanted to do, so this ends up being our last load. He follows me out. I had quite the mess going up front now, kind of in that pinwheel, and have him get that kind of cleaned up. Notice I mentioned the Stihl that we got hung at the beginning, so we want to do some long range activities with those this afternoon, and with the sun going down, needing to get all that picked up, go ahead and call it a day on moving these logs, and we do a little bit of that. So I got these off, had two that wanted to stay. That's the nice thing about the poly on there again, is I was able to actually just push those most of the way off. And here's just a look. I kind of do from both perspectives. So here on top of the auto while I get that unhooked, just kind of showing, getting that moved around, and then once I move the auto, kind of show from the perspective of the tractor. Very similar this morning, just getting all that stuff moved that we just did today. And right now, just piling it high and trying to get it out of the way. And like I said, we'll get the 62 over here and really start sorting and making firewood out of what we can. This is a combination of things that can be milled versus things that are just going to be firewood. So eventually we'll go through and sort this. For now we're just trying to get stuff cleaned up so it's kind of in a pile. And then we'll go through and get things sorted. So this pile, a lot of oak, cherry, there's a nice piece of pine which could be milled, and then some poplar and stuff in there. Here's one thing with those just being channel, not too afraid to abuse them. Go to a junkyard, find some scrap, and you know, make up a couple new pieces. Small tractor's not super excited about picking up these big pieces, so they just go close to the ground, but they'll get them picked up. So got wrapped up in kind of other activities after this, so didn't get to make an outro video, so I'll have this be it. Basically just got all these moved over so that whenever it's time to move the rest of that stuff out, I have a spot to pull it to. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up, click that subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.